Hey everyone, I'm Davin here with Kirkham Iron Tech. I'm our founder and CEO, Tom Kirkham. So Tom, I've been asked and actually brought to my attention a few times by different prospects, and same thing keeps coming up, saying that we don't really have to worry about security or overall cybersecurity because we use AWS or we're all Microsoft. We use their cloud services. What are your thoughts on that?
This is one of the biggest misconceptions out there.
Okay.
And I'm glad you asked me, because what you have to understand is the moment that provider that you're buying virtualized desktops from, or you're running your line of business application on something that's hosted on AWS, when you're talking to them, the minute any software of any type is placed in that data center or on that infrastructure with Microsoft or Google or Amazon, that changes the dynamics of the security infrastructure. Amazon is more concerned with securing the infrastructure than it is securing. In fact, they don't really care about securing the application. They think that is their customers' responsibility, right? So you just think about, you think about a website. It's WordPress. It's got Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP, and among other things. Well, all five of those are software applications that have their own vulnerabilities. They have their own exploitable weaknesses. That's outside the scope of Amazon. That's not their responsibility. It's the service provider that is using Amazon. So here's my advice. When you question a vendor about their security, and it's a cloud vendor, now I'm not talking about Amazon or Microsoft, okay? Their security is great, right? Our data center security is phenomenal. Our uptime is 100%, not 99.999, 100% uptime. But regardless, when you're questioning a vendor, a cloud provider, I don't care if it's email or website hosting or virtual desktops and servers and all of these different things, because cloud's a big word, which really, when you think about it, the only difference between it being in the cloud and being in your office is location, okay, at its very basic level. Sure, you're going to have a lot more redundancy, a lot better uptime, and the list goes on and on and on. But when you're talking to a vendor, giving you, trying to sell you a line of business application, maybe you're an attorney and you've got a cloud-based time tracking system, so billable hours, right? Line of business app, a vertical market application. And you're talking to that vendor, you need to ask them about their security practices and defense and whatever else comes to mind. And if the only response they can give you is, well, everything we do is done on AWS, and AWS has impeccable security, and that's all they got, that's not acceptable as far as I'm concerned, because Amazon doesn't care, about their deployment of their infrastructure. They do some things for, distributed denial of service attacks and, things that affect the entire data center, but it's not their responsibility to patch WordPress or to patch Exchange servers. And so when you're questioning and you're selecting a vendor for any cloud service, if their only response to your questions about cybersecurity is you don't have to worry about it because it's in the cloud, it's not acceptable. Run. Because look, I know from personal experience and friends of mine and everything that they were told those very things, clients of ours, told those very things, and it's a fallacy. It's not true at all. No disrespect to Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, or whoever your cloud infrastructure or your data center is, but it's not their job to secure your deployment environment. That's the vendor's job. That's our job for our clients that use our cloud service. Our cloud service is second to none. It's bulletproof, 100% uptime so far. May not always be able to say that, but I know where the limitations are. And I know that we are responsible for securing the things we put on that infrastructure.
No, that's a great point. And a lot of people think it's in the cloud. I don't have to worry about security for myself. And we've talked about this before about also securing the endpoint. That's access that you're using to access whatever cloud services those may be, because if those become compromised, that's a whole different beast of vulnerabilities that may be untouched or even just unlooked at.
Yeah, and not to mention reusing passwords. The human element, 95% of breaches. And in fact, the breaches that I know about that for applications or virtualization that's hosted on AWS and Azure and whatever else, those were human errors, right?
Yes.
And you just, so many people, especially people that they're not InfoSec specialists, even IT people. This is probably one of the guiltiest things IT people do. I mean, we're talking IT specialists, database specialists, WordPress specialists, Exchange specialists, and they just fall back on that crutch. You don't have to worry about security because Amazon's providing it. Well, that's not good enough. We give our clients mail servers. It's up to us to secure those mail servers, not our data center, not our service provider. No matter how awesome our stuff is, it's best in the world, but do not fall for that fallacy, that myth, that just because it's Amazon, just because it's Microsoft, that it's more secure. That it's a myth, and it bothers me that so many people think they take that at face value. So all I'm saying is question them. If they don't start talking about intrusion detection systems, if they don't talk about 24/7 monitoring for intrusions and management and responding, if they don't have any discussions about what their own team or that company is doing from a security standpoint, you're talking about software development. Is the code secure, right?
Yeah.
Does that Apache server need a patch? Right? That's not Amazon's job. If all they've got it's AWS, you have nothing to worry about. Run. That's not good enough.
Definitely. No, those are great points. And if you have questions about these things or would like for us to dive a little bit deeper on certain topics that we discussed today, feel free to reach out. You can reach us via email, phone call. But also, if you're just curious about what vulnerabilities you may have within your organization or just what you should be doing regarding cybersecurity, we do have a free cybersecurity and risk assessment that we provide. And we'll go through all of these topics, some of the topics that we talked about today, but also topics like endpoint protection and how you're storing your data and how you're saving it. So if you're interested in that free cybersecurity and risk assessment, feel free to reach out and we'll be happy to help you. But tune in next week as we dive into another topic, and you'll have a great week.